I guess the main thing I want to talk about today is I feel like I fell short yesterday. I feel like I didn't deliver quite to the level that I want to deliver, and part of that is just my own uh, um, well, a simple choice of I ended up taking a break and just allowing the background music to go on for really almost about an hour, and I just kind of felt defeated in a number of ways. It was hot. I was tired. I played for like almost 2 hours straight, and then had $10 in the tip jar. Excuse me. Um, and so that to me was like just kind of like I'm pouring myself out here. I'm trying to do the best job that I can, and $10 in the tip jar for 2 hours of effort with what I'm doing just feels like okay. People just don't care today, and so I was like, okay, well, maybe I just need to rest. And at least I still provide the service of having a really nice PA system. I put on the Nickel Creek background music. Sounds really nice. It's perfect for the market. So I still feel like I'm providing a service. I don't feel like I'm not doing my job. And in particular, that the pay is very low. I think this is part of the advantage of environments like the city market is there's flexibility to do what works. There's some flexibility with a lower expectation that at least I think is appropriate. I want to do my best when I'm there, and I do actually think of it as, uh, I mean, I guess you could say an honor. I do think of it as I get to be a reflection of the city, and many times I feel there's so much tourism that comes through there that I do notice that sometimes, like there were times yesterday where in a particular song that I feel like I'm playing really, really well. I feel like I'm uplifting the image of the city, and it's not that, and I don't say that because I just think that within myself. I think that from the energy that I see tourists responding with, and so I see people passing by that I'm pretty confident are tourists, and you could just tell their excitement, and I'm playing a part of that of they're excited about the market, and it's cool because the market is really cool. The city market is really cool, and then I'm playing this really uplifting, positive music that I'm very motivated. I'm very excited. I'm bringing a lot of energy to the table, and it just feels alive. There's a life, and that excites people. And so when I see that, and I notice that, that's why I say I feel like I'm uplifting the image of the city when I play there, and I think that's a really cool, I don't know, opportunity or position to have. So I'm. It makes me excited when I feel like that's what I'm doing. So, but yeah, I do feel like I feel like I fell short. I could have. Uh, I kept telling myself, okay, I should get back up and finish this last 30 minutes strong, or finish this last 25 minutes strong, and just get up and push and do it, regardless of whatever the financial result is. And then I ultimately just stayed sitting down, letting the background music play, and just let those first 2 hours be the end of my music performance weekend. And so let's reflect on it. So um, I'll tag off of the previous video, which was It Only Takes One. And I did have a couple that was from New York that stopped and filmed an entire performance of Best Part from Daniel Caesar, and had a really nice conversation with them. They were really excited about it, genuinely appreciative, and it was beautiful when the fourth wall is broken, and they spoke to me with the respect that I really could accept. It was pretty exciting and really nice to connect with them, because most of the time when you connect with people that are appreciating your music, there is a way that they don't really understand what you're doing, which is fine, because the only way to understand is you have to have put time in a certain regard. But the guy apparently was involved in jazz, and it's to some degree very serious about music. I don't know if he does it as a profession or as a hobby, but he's clearly, if it's a hobby, it's a very, very serious hobby, from just his demeanor. And you could tell that what was cool is a lot of times when I play music in these kind of environments, people can many times be appreciative. But I feel like people don't know, like you're busking on a corner, right? Now, when I'm busking with the Space Ark, it's a little different because it's an impressive looking thing in its own way. And it clearly shows a lot of time and effort, and it's not just like a simple contraption. So I think it does the Space Ark itself does something to affect people's mentality and their approach and the relationship that can be garnered. But in my experience, a lot of times people could be pretty standoffish, even if they really enjoy the music. And these people just right away weren't at all. And it's like there was a friendship or a kinship that was there almost immediately. And so that was really cool. And I could go into length that we shared a conversation for a substantial period of time. And, you could argue that it only takes one. That maybe was one of the interaction that really made the time worthwhile for me. But really what did it was at the end when I'm about to pack up and go home, and I've just played background music, and I feel like I kind of gave up in a way. I might be a little being down on myself a little bit. And a kid came up and put something kind of big into my tip jar, and I look at and it looked like a loaf of bread or a cake or something. That's what it was, a loaf of bread. And he said, "Thank you for the good music." And the way that he said it, he was so proud to put that bread there, and it was such a kind gift, the way that it was given. And clearly, it had been given to him by his mom or his dad, and this was a gift from their family to me, and that they were vendors inside the market that had been appreciating the music. But I also think they could tell more than that they probably could hear that I played music for 2 hours, and then I played background music. I played live music for 2 hours and then background music for an hour. And I think maybe to some extent they understood that my emotional state. Maybe they didn't, but to me the gift felt like that they did, and they just wanted to show me some appreciation and nourish me with some bread, and which is what they had to offer. And the bread is delicious. But the way that the kid gave it showed me that the kid too really enjoyed it, and so that their whole family really appreciated it. And that just is like, that was it only takes one. I really appreciate the couple for stopping, and they had a different angle of appreciation of sort of the technical side of music and the performance. They appreciated it from more the standpoint of musicians, but also viewers. And this kid and this family more just appreciated me as a human, and so then those things, over the course of a 3-hour gig, that goes, I guess, reinforcing it only takes one, or it only takes a couple, and it helped send me a message that it was okay, that I didn't push myself on this particular gig for the last hour, that I put some work in this weekend. I don't need to be hard on myself about it. I'll learn what I can from this. All right, let's see what other things that I can learn from this experience. Okay, so another way that I feel like I fell short was, I just feel like I had a number of people that maybe had a positive reaction to what I was doing, and then I just feel like, and I don't know if it's because I didn't get enough sleep last night. I was running on maybe like 4.5 hours of sleep or something, and then maybe combine that with it was very hot, and so I sweated, so maybe I dehydrated myself to a certain extent. But I just felt like I feel like I performed the music well, but I didn't have good social energy to give, and I didn't have a confident, kind social energy. And I just felt when people were moved to communicate with me and interact with me, I felt anxious and nervous or standoffish or self, like, insecure, and then that always uh, that always ends up, if I feel that way, it just ruins interactions. I really just need to be. I think maybe I overthink the interactions, and I just need to not take them so seriously or not put so much meaning on them. But it's really hard for me to, because I just feel like every interaction that I have with any person, I want to have the most positive impact that I can, and I hold myself to a really high standard. And I don't know if that's sensible or fair to me or fair to even the other person, because at the end of the day, maybe it's just a simple interaction. It doesn't need to be something very grand or significant. And I place too much weight onto it, and then when I feel like I can't deliver, because I want to deliver, like I deliver this music like of this certain level and this certain energy, and then when somebody is moved by it and they want to interact with me personally, I want to be able to match that with my personality. I don't want to do anything that undercuts that message. I want them to be able to take that message. But that to me is the way harder part. The music I've been able to practice and I've developed over years and years, it's just something that I know how to do. And the other side of it, I want to. I don't like. I know that I've accomplished this feeling or this message within this person, and then when they want to make the personal connection, that's a side of things that, like yesterday, I just feel like I'm tired and I'm grumpy. And I don't really want to interact with anybody, but then I don't want to. If I show that, I feel like it's just going to completely counteract the music and the message, and so I feel like I have to lift myself up and be positive and be on the same level as my music. I hope that makes sense. And sometimes I just don't feel like I can't. I'm able to do it, and then I get frustrated with myself, and then and I feel and so it's hard to put into words. I mean, there's certain things I'm thinking of that I feel like I can't. There's no way I can explain on the internet without it being misinterpreted misinterpreted in really unhelpful ways. So I feel like there's things like I'm just I hope that makes sense. That when you're feeling in that way, that sometimes it's so hard to communicate correctly and make sure that the message that you really want to communicate is what gets communicated. And when you feel kind of negative inside yourself or weary, a lot of times that can be misinterpreted by others, and they take it personally, and then it just becomes this issue, and then it counteracts what you already did. All right, so that's a lot of how I felt yesterday, and so I held it against my own self, because I thought I'm just being rude, or I'm just being nasty. Like I'm not living up to who I should be living up to be. I'm not being what I need to be. And so then I was disappointed in myself. And so I think to some extent that's true, and I need to hold myself to a higher standard. I need to be bolder. I need to be more willing to just take the risk and go there and suffer the consequences, even if it's disappointment with how interactions go. But I think also I need to not probably put it all on just I'm a bad person, or I'm not as good a person as I wish I was, but also put it on I didn't get enough sleep, it was hot, it was humid, and then also allow myself to appreciate that to some extent, whatever the interactions are also have to do with the other people. So it's trying to understand that balance and learn and grow where I can and better myself where I can. And it's just, it's tough. It's tough. So I don't know. I feel like but I do feel at the end of the day, I could have done better yesterday. And so I want to push myself to do better. I want to do better next time. So I feel like there's got to be something else in there, or maybe that's the one for today, is that You don't really win them all. I feel like there's some good things that happened yesterday, but I feel like I didn't do as well as I could have yesterday. You can't win them all, and that's okay. Nobody wins every game. Nobody wins every sports game. You lose some games, and that doesn't mean you quit. That doesn't mean you think that you're garbage. You lose a game, and you got to get up and play again, and learn what you can, and get up and play again. So that's what I'm going to do. Losing's part of the game. Let's call it. That's what we'll call this. Losing's part of the game. And even when you lose, if I play a ton of basketball, if one team loses, they still scored. Maybe they lose 120 points to 113 points. They still scored 113 points. So, in order to win this particular game, they needed to score over 120. But it doesn't take away from 113 points that were scored. That were accomplishments in their own right. So, losing's part of the game. Yeah, we'll leave it with that. So, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.